Hello, everyone. Um, I decided to do a follow-up show regarding the discussion that I had with Peter and these werewolf beings. And he contacted me a few days back and he said that they were finding these beings. They looked like werewolves, but they didn't have any hair or fur. And when he started to describe them further, I recognized them as these pan beings that I've been talking about for any length of time. And for those of you in particular that have been listening to the Andronetalks transmissions, you know that for years I've mentioned these beings that look like Pan and the darkness of Pan and what he's done in a lot of, in our and around our reality. So I'm going to come back over here and so you can see that is, people question whether or not they call it a dwarf planet. There's even like some really weird things have been going on with Pluto. It's been it's in the Kuiper Belt, um, a ring of bodies beyond the orbit of Neptune. As I started looking at it, and I noticed that there were 5 known moons. And what I thought was interesting is one is named Sharon, or possibly Chiron as well, connected to Chiron. Styx, Nyx, Kerberos, and Hydra. Now, some might argue that Charon is not the same as Chiron, but sometimes they play different roles. And you'll see I'm going to share this, and essentially this is the reality of the underworld. Charon in Greek mythology is the son of Erebus, in Nyx, the night. So that's his mother is called Nyx, and whose duty was to ferry over the rivers Styx and Acheron those souls of the deceased who had received the rites of burial. In payment, he received the coin that was placed in the mouth of the corpse. In art where he was first depicted in an Attic vase dating from about 500 BCE, and Charon was represented as a morose and grisly old man. Charon appears in Aristophanes' comedy Frogs. Virgil portrayed him in Aeneid Book 6, and he is the common character in the dialogues of Lucian. And you see in Etruscan mythology, he's also known as Charon, and appeared as a death demon, armed with a hammer. Interesting, right? It makes you think of hammer as like with Thor, possibly. But has to do with death and the afterlife. I think we've talked about the name Lucian before, and we've also looked at, we'll think about the frogs. Frogs are associated also with death or curses and different things like that. Okay, so another part to Chiron is this corporation that is part of the game called Observer, and we've talked about this in the past. And so, I've discussed this with Peter before, that these are ancient gods or ancient beings that ruled, that had power, and they are still active in our reality. Now, the Observer storyline is supposed to be in the future and is very much an AI reality. So these ancient hybrid beings, whatever they are, actually are going into our future and allowing humanity to be controlled by AI. And so this is Chiron Incorporated, is an organization in the world of Observer. It is one of the world's largest corporations in the current governing body of the Fifth Polish Republic. Interesting, there's 5 moons, and here is the Fifth Polish Republic. It is presided by the chairman and the National Board of Directors, acting as the executive and legislative powers respectively. The chairman is elected by the board every 10 years, although the electors can opt to re-elect or impeach the chairman via unanimous vote. I mean, essentially these are the ones that are in control. They call them the fearsome five. Well, I guess by looking at what Pluto and Pluto's moons have brought in, I would definitely call them the fearsome five as well, seeing that they can do a tremendous amount of damage and have control of the underworld. And this future looks like something out of an underworld. So there it is. I'll just show you really quick the Observer video game. And there it is. Another one of the moons. So we'll go back here to take a look at the moons of Pluto. There's Charon, there's Styx, and there's Nyx. Now let's take a look at, there's Hydra. And for those of you that know about like Captain America in 1945, the disappearance of Johann Schmidt, Hydra was secretly rebuilt inside the shield. So it is like this type of a Nazi group. And it's really interesting that these in particular could also be a type of beings that come from that moon. Johann Schmidt is the scientific branch of the Nazi Schutzstaffel, and during this time the cult took on the name Hydra, which soon became the organization. But I thought that was quite interesting because I did have a vision of a being with a head, a normal head, not a skull, and a body, and then the lower appendages would be like this snake. And I've had many, many images and views of snakes in my third eye, especially when nefarious things were happening. And so there's information on that. Hydra in Greek mythology, let's take a look at that, because many people might say, oh yeah, you're jumping into something else. Hydra is an immortal, many-headed snake who's haunted the swamps around Lake Lerna in ancient Greece. Although the monster claimed hundreds of victims, it is most famous for its battle with the hero Heracles. The Hydra was literally multiple times more ferocious than its closest relative, the snake. Not only was this swamp-dwelling monster larger than any known snake, it had somewhere between 6 and 100 heads. It ate human flesh. It slumbered in swamp caves. And we talked about the swamps being a place where things dwell. Also, that it is the entrances to the underworld. So is Pluto connected to the underworld? Very possibly. I don't think it always was. I think at one time it brought in a lot of good, and something happened. Kind of like with Saturn. Saturn had some very good things there, and then at one point they got contaminated, and then it became a prison planet. So let's go back. We're going to go back to the moons. So we looked at Hydra, and here is Kerberos the moon. Although let's go into the Greek myths, and we will find Cerberus, who was referred to the Hound of Hades, a multi-headed dog that guards in the gates of the underworld to prevent the dead from leaving. He was the offspring monster of Echidna in Typhon. Now take a look at her. She's got snake-like appendages. She's half snake, half woman. And Typhon. So Typhon's a monstrous serpent giant. We'll click on that, see if there's some other pictures. This is the picture I'm familiar with. And here's another one, and you can see he's essentially snakes. Fingers look like snakes. So if we're looking at Typhon, just as a reminder, and here is the Typhon group. Typhon is originally founded by German aristocrat Karl Otto von Weisenbacher in 1620 in his headquarters in Munich, Germany, in response to the start of the 30-Year War. And we will have this link in there for you. So now we have Hydra and Typhon, showing that there is some kind of unusual influence here, and it's all bringing us back to Pluto, and in particular the moons of Pluto. Let's see. So we're going to go back to Cerberus. So yeah, we brought up Typhon, but I think the main focus here is bringing us to the final mystery of who are these dogs or wolves that are these werewolves that are showing up. And here it is. And even Peter talked about vitiligo. I mean, it might be just the way it was painted, but that wolf right there looks like it's got a little bit of vitiligo going on one of the heads. Cerberus included the number of his heads. Let's see, usually three-headed, though not always. He has several multi-headed relatives, such as the snake-headed Typhon. Cerberus was the brother of three other multi-headed monsters, the multi-snake-headed Lernaean Hydra. Take a look at that. And you can see there is the Lernaean Hydra. And there it is. So that's a validation of what I said, that these beings are coming from Pluto. They're, in fact, maybe I was slightly incorrect that they were coming from the moons of Pluto, more specifically. And so if this is supposed to be the gates of the underworld, I guess that's what has been opened up. And sort of looks like a flat earth there. But you know, there's the information, the multi-headed dog, and that's it. I think that there's some other pictures. It's Hercules. We unfortunately don't have a Hercules that's able to fight them right now, but I'm sure that there are others that are here to assist us. This one right here is Dante's The Third Circle of Hell, and this is Cerberus. It's Hercules again. And there is Cerberus and Hades or Serapis there. So thank you for listening. I tried to be a little bit more particular. Maybe I was a little long-winded. I apologize. I just wanted to get the information out and not miss anything in the process. But hopefully this answers some questions. Oh, before we leave, there's one other one is Pindar, which is also, you know, a being that's brought up, particularly a reptilian being, and Chimera. We've talked about the chimeras. They're a hybrid of different creatures. And so these are all supposed to be connected, coming from the same place as Cerberus, which is one of the moons of Pluto. So thank you for listening. Have a good day.
You have been listening to the Disclosures with Peter the Insider and Jessica Marrocco. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Visit www.acio-agency.org and www.readingsbyarael.com. Post your questions and comments below. We look forward to hearing from you. Feel free to support our work. All links can be found in the description. Thank you.